Hey guys, it's Ben from Taught AI, and in today's video we are going to look at how having a custom built AI tool that understands your leadership position, your school improvement plan, your context, and specifically Ofsted can really support you in that moment when you get the call. So we're going to be using the Taught AI primary fictional platform, but this is the kind of tech that's available to schools that have decided to start building tools around this kind of framework where we put in that hierarchy of truth sitting with Ofsted, school policy, and then all of the kind of leading research. So let's jump straight in and see what this user journey would look like for a head teacher after they've just received the call. We're going to jump straight through to the staff platform, and we're going to scroll all the way down to the heads and SLT assistant. And today, we're going to be actually just using the kind of talk to function. So really seeing how easy this can actually work. And I'm also going to put this into Pro mode, a separate video that talks about the different times you're going to want to use these functions in Gemini. Today we're using Pro. So let's hit the mic and see what happens. Hey, I just received the call from Ofsted. They're going to be arriving tomorrow, and I'm quite worried about how my team's prepared. I would like you to review the school improvement plan and pull together a key summary of information for the team to all be aware of. We need core messaging, which is unified across the entire school departments. I need a briefing letter that goes out to my subject leaders, a separate email which can then be disseminated to all staff, and I need to convene a meeting that's going to take place at 3 p.m. today. I would like you to produce an agenda for the meeting, key action points, and I'd like you to maintain a really supportive and calm tone for us to be prepared with this. I would also like you to separate out 10 key actions for me as head teacher. That's it. Thank you. So, I spoke pretty quickly. I've actually been a head teacher, so I've never received the call. But hopefully you get an idea on the way that we can be speaking to this tool. So what's it doing? Well, the first thing that the tool is going to do is it's going to review the Ofsted teacher toolkit. So it's going to understand all about strong standards and everything that we've got going on. And then what it's going to start looking at is school policy alongside the school improvement plan, which is part of like a kind of live document for this tool. And it's going to respond in a way that kind of, meets the Ofsted strong standards and helps us prepare for that. So we have the key summary of information. You can see here that this is coming from the school improvement plan, a lot of this. We've got our data that's been pulled out. It's prepared my briefing letter for subject leaders. So this might just be a copy and paste. Obviously, I'll read it and check it. I've got my email, which has been prepared for all staff. So that's been produced here. Again, I could simply copy and paste. And it's also started to produce an agenda for me for the meeting that will be convened at 3 p.m. today. It's got my agenda items that I'll be able to go through. And then it's got my key actions for me as a head teacher. Really, really helpful, pulls all of that information quickly together, and I can start to lean into that a little bit more. So let's take a look at a specific bit of information because we've got some data in here. Let's look at this, our inclusive practice. So let's think about how inclusive we're being. We've shifted away from differentiated worksheets to scaffolded access for all. We rely on providing real-time sentence frames, vocabulary banks to support the bottom 20%. And so what I could do as a head is I could just take this out and I could say, ask staff to ensure this is easily available in all pupil books. And then I can sort of lean into that and then share that out to my team, whether it's subject leaders, SLT, or wherever else that might be. So I guess the real thing here is for us as heads and leadership is to understand how having a tool that looks over your live documents can answer your questions really, really quickly. So look, here we go. It's all about data-driven inclusion, what we need to see in books. Really, really helpful. And we can also ask really sort of specific questions. So I could say, what are the top 5 weakness areas I can expect Ofsted to grill me on? So again, this is maybe a little bit further down the line, but as a head teacher, just trying to think about exactly what that looks like. You know, we can start thinking not just about where we're strong, but actually about where we're weak. And we can talk to the tool about, you know, where we're weak, but then also like how we can respond to it. So let's take the first one. So our combined reading writing sits at 56 against the national average. Okay, great. So write me a short script to prepare for this. And I just paste in the challenge, right? And now it's going to prepare a short script. But what it's actually going to do as well is it's going to be reviewing the Education Endowments Foundation research on early years reading and writing strategies and frameworks, and it will kind of use that to inform the way that we can respond as we're talking. So that comes from the knowledge spine, and so these EO3s, these are all of our engines basically. Ofsted, inclusion, SEN, teaching and learning, curriculum, and obviously heads. Now, the last thing that we can also do here, this is a function not a lot of people are aware of but can use, is you can @drive. So you can hit @Google Drive, and then you can start listing what you want the tool to review. So I could say my primary policy, if I can type, booklet, I could say review this and highlight any gaps. And now what the tool's able to do is, because I've got that Google connector, really quick, simple thing to set up in your workspace, it's actually able to go into my Google Drive, start seeking out specific folders, reviewing them against Ofsted, and then letting me know exactly where it thinks I'm strong and where I'm weak. So here we go. I'm expecting a lot here because I've like written a fictional policy book, but it just lets you guys see. We've got key policies that are missing. It reflects how this links against the Ofsted toolkit, so the binary judgments, and then it can kind of help me prepare for it. And it's at my fingertips. I've got an Ofsted Genius Heads Assistant that can review my Google Drive specific folders. Obviously, you've got to be mindful about your GDPR. It's absolutely fine to do this. The rule I would sort of say is, imagine it's just like an admin assistant. So you would let that admin assistant physically go and look at certain files and folders in your school, but you're probably not going to let them go through an EHCP. So just treat it like that. Hopefully you've got an AI policy which would set all of this out. So I hope you find that a little bit useful. There's going to be more deeper dives, much more long form content on how you actually build the tool that does this. But right now, I think it's really good for people to know what's actually available and what you can achieve really easily just using Gemini. So if you like the video, like and subscribe. There'll be more content to follow, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.